Hello, Knights of the Realm, we are live. We have a brief intermission period. I will turn off the music for a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that the stream is up, everything is up. I'm going to send out an email notifying people that we're live because we have quite a few customers today in the event. You guys can just chill here with me. It took me a while to get this online, and unfortunately the mic that I use, the Yeti that we use, has died or something's wrong with it. So we're using a different mic. I don't know how good it sounds, how bad it sounds. Let me know in the chat room how it sounds to you guys, because I don't know on our end if this is good or if this is bad. I will actually just pull it up real quick. This is going to be an epic battle. Like you guys have seen before, we actually have changed the way it's written a bit. A lot of it is pre-written with you in the story without us having to make it up as we go. The parts of the battle that are made up will be the actual battle scenes. So when we are in combat and you win a roll or you lose a roll, what happens at that point is dictated by whatever else is happening in the story. So that's completely off the top. But just to add flavor to it, just to make it awesome, you know, we have to make sure that the storyline has an ending and a beginning. So this is going to be a freaking epic story. I'm so excited. I just need to make sure that everyone knows that we are live and we are good to go. So I can see Jonathan Fagel in the chat, Brittany and Nick Griffin. Awesome. This is going to be so epic, guys. Seriously. I'm so excited for it. The Legend of Genzo. It's going to be epic. Okay, let me just get the email sent out to people, and then we are totally good to go. So I am just going to have to figure out where we put... We had a draft placed. I think this is it. Now, I hate to have this little intermission period, but we have to have it. We are sitting around in this great library together, ready for this epic adventure. And you guys will learn of Genzo and his atrocities and what happened at the Willard School of Masters. It's, you know, I really think that the ending of this is quite epic, and it leads into a very... You know, the ending can change, though. So depending on how good some of you roll and how bad some of you roll, we can see a big shift in what the ending will be. So let me just triple check, make sure that we have everything good. That is not good. Okay, so everyone just get your drinks, sit. We're gonna fix this first. And we'll be live. I just didn't want to be offline too much for too long. Spicy story for spicy drops. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Mystery MTG Spice Arena, the Legend of Genzo. Okay, so... on Twitch, Facebook... YouTube, and we will get the music back on in a little bit. Like I said, we always have this little intermission period where we... Oh, I just realized the Genzo is covering the chat. Damn it, Genzo. Chat box needs to be all the way up. You guys should be on top of Genzo. There we go. Okay. See you on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. Okay. We're just going to finish this real quick, and then we should be good to go. Hopefully you guys all have your drinks, your food, your popcorn, whatever you have. Brittany, how did we send that out? I'm not sure, but the winnings are already packed. They're going out on Monday, Brittany, for anyone who won on Friday of last week. They will be going out on Monday. Yeah, I was pretty sick, and I still am kind of sick. But, you know, I just don't want to delay the Spicy Arena because it's so fun. It's really fun to do it. It's not, as long as the camera is not on, you know, the big thing is if the camera is on and I have to get dressed up and, you know, we have all of the stuff happening that way, it'll be a lot more tiring. But if I just use the microphone and we have it this way and I can just story tell, then it's a lot easier. So as long as, you know, as long as we're avoiding the actual cam, because then I have to, you know, get dressed up in the Lord outfit. Whatever you want to call it. Okay, so we have Twitch, Facebook, and then we'll put on the YouTube link. And then we should be good to go, guys. This is going to be epic. I am a little bit sick. I will kind of reiterate that point because it's been a little bit rough on the voice. I know the voice is going to be not as good today, unfortunately. Okay, let me just get this link. Okay, I think we're good to go. And then let me just put this on here. So, the story will take around 40 minutes, I would say. Around 40 minutes, if you can take 40 minutes outside of your day and just sit and enjoy the story with us. It is constant battle and epicness. So none of the, you know, lagging points that we might have seen in some other stories. Okay, so, Mr. Yeah, looks like we're all good. Just gonna make sure everyone knows that we're live. We don't want people to not know, so continue. Okay, I think we are good. Okay, email has been sent. Music is back on. I will just triple check the quality and then the story will happen and it will be epic and we will... Whoops. We'll get into this. I need to find the music that we used. At one point, I really liked the music that we used for, I think, the Ruins of Zevia. In the beginning, it was really nice. Oh, this one actually is quite nice. Okay, I think we'll go with this. Hopefully everyone is ready. I will just triple check the quality really quick, and you might hear an echo. That is fine. Just give it a minute. I don't know if that music really matches the vibe of the story, actually. I don't know. Do we go for horror or do we go for sad classical? This is interesting. I do think sad classical makes more sense here. Okay, guys. The Legend of Genzo has now arrived. And we are going to jump into the story. I will wait a minute or two for a lot of people to jump in. I see Stanley Tarsowitz, I see Brittany, I see Michael, I see the people who should be here, and I do not see Shane, Seth, Dixel Patel, Benjamin, so I think we wait a little bit. Type in chat if you're here. One favor I might ask of many of you is to keep the chat active so I know what's going on. If we're dropping frames, if we're not dropping frames. As I'm telling the story, I'm also looking at chat and I'm also looking at the performance of the stream. So all that is very important. If anything happens with the sound, if the music is too loud, if the music is too quiet, if anything that you want to change, let me know. And that will just help the mood of the stream continue and streamline. That way. So, my children, warriors of the arena, knights, archers, we sit around this fire to visit an old tale, one that many of you know, the Willard School of Masters. The battle between Genzo Dragonblight, Kingslayer, Necromancer, Dark Lord of the Burning Scourge, and the Masters. We begin shortly. The epic battles begin shortly. Death, pain, victory, courage begins shortly. How is the music? Let me check the volume of the music. Make sure it's not too loud. Death, pain, victory, courage. Okay, I think the quality seems pretty good here. Alright. Oh, most pitiful ones. Should we get into this story? Should we? I think we should. Now sit around this fire and let's start together. There was once a school filled with the bravest, the most intelligent warriors, knights, wizards the realm has ever seen. And the battles that took place there are still stories that haunt our history. The old kingdom of Azan that you had once known and many of you had fought for has fallen. And I take you back to the battle at the beginning of the epic downfall of the kingdom of Azan. I'll turn the music down. As the bells rang at the Willard School of Masters, rather than the typical hum of students rushing to class, a roar of grunts and explosions muddied the air. Pupils, donning black cloaks, saved only for war and death, scrambled into the main corridor of the dining hall. Behind them, a shadowy figure, walking in the direction, silent and eerily relaxed. The students, realizing there is nowhere else to go, must now stand their ground. As the students raised their swords, daggers, and wands, they knew what was happening now is not something they were necessarily prepared for, even with the best education. So the scene is set. You are in this beautiful, large, castle-like school called the Willard School of Masters. Many of you are students who some study the dark arts of magic, some study the light of magic, some study just hand-to-hand combat. And recently the school has been attacked, and the grounds have been broken into, and the pupils, when this happened, know that it is either them or us. Now we go back to that scene. We have a couple of students and a couple of people in chat will be a part of this. This is pre-written, so if you are not in chat and you are in this story, you know, if you are in here right now and you are in this combat scene, you are able to say stuff in chat and you will influence combat. So keep that in mind if you want to influence combat. Now, the students, realizing there is nowhere else to go, must now stand their ground. Swords, daggers, and wands. And suddenly, the figure drops his hood. And what stands in front of them had made the world stand still. Genzo Dragonblight, Kingslayer, Necromancer, Dark Lord of the Burning Scourge, with fiery eyes and a grin that would slice through even Phyrexian steel. His evil is legend. Lord of the Burning Scourge, wielder of the Forgotten Blade, and the destroyer of the Azan Kingdom. Genzo is of unbelievable power and unparalleled strength, an icy soul utterly consumed by paranoia and death. As the pupils stand terrified, and his moment nears, Jonathan Fagel, son of Thelonian Fagel, unlatches his wand and mutters, "Zuthanius, guide me," before unleashing a hellish battering of fireballs against the Dark Lord. The first roll goes for Jonathan Fagel. Jonathan, you have 2 rolls. I have to change the music for this, Jonathan. This is your life or death, and we're all here to witness it. We're gonna go into the spooky mood. We have to go into the spooky mood. Let's see. Okay, Jonathan Fagel. 2 rolls, you know the rules. 1 through 50. 1 through 49 is a loss. 50 to 100 is a win. A natural 100 provides a treasure chest of spice very few have ever seen. So, I wish you the best of luck. This is a D100. Jonathan Fagel, son of Thelonian Fagel, what say you in this bout against Genzo? The first roll is a very low roll, and the second roll, Jonathan Fagel. Oh, come on. We actually have a rule. If it's 47, if it's 45 and above, I will give you a reroll. I will give you a reroll. 1 reroll. Okay. 1 loss, 1 win. 1 loss, 1 win. Jonathan Fagel, noticing that Genzo is in front of him, his pupils, his friends, his colleagues are scared, withering in their own place. But Jonathan Fagel, no stranger to combat, is ready for this. And as he prays to Zuthanius, and he unleashes the hellish fireballs against the Dark Lord, several of them hit Genzo. Genzo stands a bit shocked. But Jonathan knows that this is not enough. This is not close to enough to defeat the Dragonblight son, the Kingslayer, the Necromancer, and the Dark Lord of the Burning Scourge. Jonathan, 1 win, 1 loss. I will actually, just so we don't mess anything up, as we go, I'm going to note your wins and losses on the screen. We will do that so we don't forget later on who's winning and who's losing, okay? So Jonathan, congratulations, 1 win. We move on with combat. You have slightly burned the Dark Lord, but really nothing crazy. Genzo, tired of this distraction, flings himself into the air, prompting the students to scurry away. But there is one standing. One that we know. Brandon Carl, a student of the dark arts, is standing there snickering. War is nothing new to him, and death only a new phase in his existence. Genzo lands within a few feet in front of him, and Brandon beckons him into combat, flinging several daggers that narrowly miss Genzo's head. If Genzo wasn't mistaken, this was on purpose. Now, Brandon, before I continue, are these 3 tickets just for you, or is this also for your son? Let me know. We can incorporate Adler if you want. I don't think I got a note from you this time. Brandon is right now standing face to face with a Dark Lord of epic proportions, but we know Brandon, he's been in combat before, he's survived some very sticky situations. And just for the fun of it, I mean, he's enjoying this moment so much, he flings daggers on the side of Genzo's head, because Brandon, as we know, likes hand-to-hand combat. 2 for me, 1 for Adler. Okay. So, on the side of Brandon, Adler Carl arrives. As everyone else runs, these two Warriors, students of the dark arts, find joy in this moment. Genzo, understanding that combat is unavoidable, unleashes his forgotten blade. The blade that rules all others. Eternal power in the hands that rest upon its hilt. A rune-inscribed two-handed long blade. As Brandon swings his blade into Genzo, and Adler follows up with a dagger, Genzo attempts to deflect the hits. We have 3 rolls. Brandon, this is your moment. 3 rolls. You know the rules. 1 through 49 is a loss. 50 through 100 is a win. 1 roll for Adler, 2 for Brandon. So we'll do the Brandon's rolls first. That is a loss. Second roll. Oh, come on. This is... 3rd roll for Adler. There's no way. In the previous adventure, the Carls had won every single roll. And in this adventure, these are abysmally low. What happens in combat as Genzo sees the blades coming at him in one fell swoop, you can hear the souls stuck inside of the blades screaming. This throws Brandon off as he attempts to deflect the hit. He breaks Brandon's sword. Brandon, taken aback, is sliced across the chest. Adler, jumping onto Genzo's back, attempting to stab him with the dagger, but the dark magic is too much. They're engulfed in blackness, not dead, but close to it. As this is happening, the doors at the entry of the dining hall swing open. Kevin Pollard, J.D. Hammond, and Michael Silvestri rush in. Guardians of the Willard School, bringers of justice, and experienced warriors. The Dark Lord flings himself into the air and lands in the middle of the 3. His two-handed blade now surging with dark energy, and his hands convulsing, covered in blood and tissue. We have to roll for Kevin Pollard, J.D. Hammond, and Michael Silvestri. Brandon Carl is in the corner of the room, attempting to reach his blade. We will maybe roll something later to see if he gets his blade and re-enters combat. Kevin Pollard, J.D. Hammond, Michael Silvestri. The Dark Lord is in front of you. Kevin, you are first in combat. This is a 3-on-1. None of you know what's going to happen. His hand convulsing is sickening to even watch. The dark energy around him that you can feel, you can see, is intimidating. Kevin! The first roll. Is a win! Kevin striking Genzo with his sword. Genzo narrowly dodging it, but taking a slight slash on his shoulder. His blood, not a natural color. A greenish goo starts to ooze. Kevin, inspired by this, takes another swing. Second swing is a win! That is 2 wins for Kevin. Kevin, coming into it, drops his sword and starts to strangle Genzo. But Genzo is too strong. He throws Kevin off, but Kevin is still alive. Michael and J.D. Hammond seeing what's happening, both entering into combat. On the side of Genzo, the Dark Lord, they attempt to strike him with their swords. Genzo still holding his forgotten blade. The first roll for J.D. Hammond is a win! The second roll for Michael Silvestri is a loss as Michael comes into the combat and he raises his blade and he attempts to get in there. The Forgotten Blade comes down. Michael deflects it. He moves to the left, but the Dark Lord is one step ahead. His convulsing hand points in his direction, and blackness engulfs Michael Silvestri. J.D. Hammond, seeing this, comes and slashes Genzo across the chest. Not a fatal wound, but strong enough. So that is 1 win. So that is 2 wins for Kevin Pillard. That is 1 win for J.D. Hammond. Make sure we have this correct. And unfortunately at this point, while not dead, keep in mind there are revival rolls that happen in the story. Revival rolls mean someone will be given a chance to revive those that have died. And if they land it, then those people will get a new roll. Okay? So J.D. Hammond has 1 win, Kevin Pillard has 2 wins, Jonathan Fagel has 1 win. And we go to the next instance of combat. I'm so, Brandon, I cannot believe you guys lost all 3 rolls. That is crazy. That is insane. And they were pretty low. If it was in the 40s, I would have given a reroll, honestly. Okay. The scene has now shifted. We are in a different place within the school. The school, keep in mind, is a large campus. There's the dining hall, there's the dormitory, there's a courtyard. And the dormitories are sprawling, they're quite large. Outside of the dining hall, minions of Genzo start to overrun the last sanctuary left for the pupils of the dormitory. Zachary Buck, Nick Zolnorowski, and Jeffrey Swakowski attempt to hold them back from the entry. This is a pretty sickening scene if you can imagine it. The ghouls are attempting to overrun the dormitory to get to all of the kids ranging from 5 years old to 18 years old. Although strong in magic, this event is not prepared for. The minions, foul ghouls summoned by the Lord of the Burning Scourge, crawl on the ground with sickening speed, showcasing sharp, infected teeth, ready to plunge into their next victim. Zachary, Nick, and Jeffrey, you have your roles now. Will you defend the dormitory? Will you die, or will you save the younglings? Here we are. The first roll. As he sees the ghouls coming, his sword is ready, his mind hardened, his determination to save those around him stronger than it's ever been. Zachary Buck. The RNG gods in your heart, I pray they give you strength. The first roll. Oh my god! Zachary, with determination in his heart and the soul of a knight, enters into combat. Ghouls lunging at him, attempting to bite him, attempting to kill him. He strikes one down, he strikes another down, slamming them in the head, grabbing one by the ruff of its neck, and plunging his sword so deep into it, it penetrates the other side. This gives a rallying cry to those around him that this is not the end. This is the beginning. That is a win for Zachary Buck. A very strong win at that. We will take note of that. And I will also note your score, 95. If you roll above a 90, you definitely get rewarded for that. Nick, seeing what is happening, prepares his bow, attempting to get a shot off on one of the ghouls. Now this bow is able to withstand heat, and he has dipped his arrows into oil. These are fiery arrows. He takes aim, and he shoots. You know the rules. 1 through 49 is a loss. And he does not lose, he wins. He practices his archery every day, and this moment, it comes into use. The arrow slashing the ghoul directly between the eyes. That ghoul dies. He prepares another arrow for the next. But before he's able to do that, let me take note of his win. Before he is able to get the other shot off, Jeffrey Sokowski, dual-wielding two swords, two one-handed swords, is in the middle of combat with several of these creatures, very skillfully deflecting their swipes, stabbing some in the chest, in their disgusting, gooey chests. You remember, these are deformed creatures. These are ghouls. They resemble a young but old man crawling on the floor. And Jeffrey doesn't take note of their looks. He only takes note of combat. Jeffrey, 2 rolls. You know the rules. And we know Jeffrey. He is good at combat. He has won many times before. And I expect this to be no different. Jeffrey! Will you protect the younglings? He does! That's the first roll. We have the second roll. We're on a winning streak. Jeffrey, don't end it. Oh, that's close. 45 and above, we give a reroll. Jeffrey, second roll. Oh my god. Jeffrey wins both rolls as he's in combat with these hellish fiends, these ghouls with infected teeth. Their mouths wide open, ready to bite into anything near them. Jeffrey does not let this intimidate him. With 2 swords in hand, he's slashing, decapitating the ghouls, holding the door steady, the pupils behind him, looking at his back, seeing a warrior of light, trusting in him. And Jeffrey did not fail. Jeffrey did not fail. That is 2 wins for Jeffrey Swakowski. We move on. As they fight, the wave of ghouls becomes too much. They're chomping faces. Even though Jeffrey, Nick, and Zachary are doing their best, they get pushed back and pushed back. And the minions, these hellish fiends, have now entered the corridor of the dormitory, and they move in. As the minions overrun the entry, the pupils attempt to hide but fail. Many are now in hand-to-hand combat with the ghouls, some having entire legs eaten away while they are unable to force them off. But suddenly, a large shock moves the building. What sounds like explosions are going off in the courtyard. The ghouls, just as shocked as the pupils to hear this, scream a vicious scream and scurry outside in worry of their master, Genzo. And outside, a battle takes place. We move into the 3rd phase of this story. This is the last stand for the Willard School of Masters. Take a sip of your drinks now. This battle will be epic. I can promise you that. Now, are you guys ready for this? Alasdair Vale will be the first. Nicholas Griffin, are you here? Tucker, are you here? Stanley, are you here? Seth, Robert, Dixall, Benjamin? Before I play this music and before we enter this 3rd phase of combat, I need all of you to ready yourselves for combat. Drink water. Pray to the RNG gods. And now, Stanley Tarasowitz, the Black Knight, says he's here. Okay, I pray for all of you. And now we continue. As the ghouls scurry outside, they see a battle taking place between the Warriors of Light and Genzo and his Scourge Knights. Genzo, fury visible with every action, strikes at all within reach. At the front of the battle stands Alasdair Vale, Nicholas Griffin, Tucker DeBolt, and the Black Knight, Stanley Tarasowitz. Some flinging spells without taking aim as the darkness consumes them, consumes their friends and the foes around them. Stanley, ghouls on his shoulders, swings his great axe in a desperate attempt to gain ground in the battle. Now we roll. Alasdair Vale first, surrounded by these ghouls, fighting the Scourge Knights in what seems to be a lost battle. His will is not. Alasdair Vale, you have one roll. You know the rules. 1 through 49 is a loss, 50 to 100 is a win. If you win vintage packs, spice, masterpieces, prizes that are unfathomable. Here we go. The first roll is not a win. We move on to Nicholas Griffin. 3 rolls. Nicholas, at this point in the battle, has unsheathed his two-handed sword and is in a very beautiful bout of combat with the Scourge Knight, both of them representing a different part of war. Nicholas Griffin showing the light, the bravery, the Scourge Knight showing darkness and merciless hunger. 3 rolls for Nicholas Griffin. Nicholas, you know the rules. First roll is a loss. Nicholas, as this beautiful display of combat is happening, gets slashed in the shoulder, but this does not take him out. He still has one good hand. He attempts to raise the sword. Oh my god, Nicholas, what's going on? Nicholas starting to falter. The Scourge Knight is too strong. The dark magic is too strong. Nicholas raising his sword one last time. Nicholas, strength. Keep it in you. Third roll. No! As Nicholas, in his light and his beauty, raises his sword in the last attempt to kill the Scourge Knight, he can see a red gleam in the Scourge Knight's eye as it plunges its sword into Nicholas. The air stands still. Those who are fighting next to him see Nicholas Griffin, a knight, a warrior, fall to his knees. And Nicholas, with one tear in his eye, looks at Tucker DeBolt and Stanley. And he tells Stanley, "Revive us!" Which should give indication of what is coming up for those who have died. The Black Knight Stanley is known as not only a good fighter, but a good healer. In any case, Nicholas Griffin falls to the floor. The Scourge Knight takes aim at Tucker DeBolt. Tucker already in combat with a Scourge Knight and several ghouls with a bow and arrow, but he's using the bow as a weapon at this point. It's so close combat. Tucker, you know the rules. You must survive and take revenge for Nicholas Griffin. Yes! As this combat is happening and Nicholas falls, Tucker DeBolt, sadness in his heart, but anger, and that anger turns into strength. Tucker DeBolt, using his bow, sticks one very sharp end of it into the head of a ghoul before sticking the other end into the Scourge Knight's neck. A burst of blood. Tucker is covered in this green goo, which should tell you that these Scourge Knights are not human. Or they may have been human at one point, but are no longer human. Tucker takes that last second, grabs 3 arrows, and shoots 3 arrows directly into the faces of Scourge Knights fighting his pupils and his colleagues. Tucker, you win. That is 1 win for you. Now, Stanley has a very important thing to do here. Stanley, you have 4 rolls. You have ghouls around you. They are attempting to kill you. They are attempting to stop you from healing those around you. You have a chance to give everyone who has died a second shot. Or at least those within your vicinity. Nicholas Griffin lies in a pool of blood next to you. Alasdair Vale in a similar situation. If you are able to win 3 of these rolls, 3 out of 4, both Alasdair Vale and Nicholas Griffin will get 1 more reroll. Stanley, the Black Knight, enters into combat. Stanley has ghouls on his shoulders, has Scourge Knights taking aim at him, has arrows flying around his head. The first roll is a 75. That is a win. He grabs a ghoul by its disgusting gooey head, flings it off and stomps on its skull. The first one is dead. The second one, seeing what's happening, attempts to grab onto his neck. Stanley. Second roll is a 92! Stanley, with the strength that we already know he has, grabs the second ghoul, tears its body apart limb from limb, biceps bulging in the light. The clouds are starting to open. The Black Knight that we know that has fought a devil in his history. If you were there for that, you know what I'm talking about. Has anger and revenge in his heart, and he is showing it. 2 wins. Because this is above a 90, I think we're going to do the revival rolls anyway. Even if you lose the next 2. Third roll is a 5. Stanley has killed the ghouls. He is now in a fight with the Scourge Knights. He's tired. He's starting to become wary. This is a lot of effort, a lot of energy. Fourth roll is an 83. He gets it anyway. As he's tired, the energy is leaving his body. He still manages to raise his sword, and with 1 strike, kills 2 Scourge Knights. And as he does that, his hand lifts into the air, and a bubble of light shines around him, as if God had chosen him. His allies start to rise. Nicholas Griffin takes his sword, blood on him, his wounds healing. Alasdair Vale, both of them, rising from the dead, which is almost ironic because he's battling a necromancer. But Stanley wants victory today. Nicholas Griffin, revival roll. 39. You know what? Because Stanley won that for you, we're going to give Nicholas Griffin and Alasdair a automatic win. Because Stanley did it 3 wins in a row. Yeah, so both of those would have been losses. We're going to give him the wins. So Nicholas Griffin gets 1 win. Because Stanley, so this is a big thank you to Stanley, right? Stanley won those rolls. He won them very well. Because of that, he saves 2 people who should have perished. Stanley with 3 wins. Those 3 wins turned into 5 wins. An epic battle indeed. A very epic battle. But we must continue. Cesar Sanchez and Jeff Stickrod are in this battle, but in a different way. As they were running to help the party, to help their friends, to battle these ghouls, a disgusting looking creature stood in their way. In the thick of the ongoing war, both Caesar and Jeff are grappling with a hellish fiend in the shape of a Gogarian dog, a wolf-like creature with fangs the size of short swords. Caesar and Jeff must both roll here, and it'll be very interesting if they win. It will change the end of the story. So, Caesar Sanchez and Jeff Stickrod. Caesar has 4 rolls. We know Caesar. He's a strong guy. Okay, he does not come out. First roll. 47, that's a re-roll. 85, first roll is a win. Second roll. 39. Third roll. 97! Oh my god. Fourth roll, we gotta finish it and we'll continue. Fourth roll. 69, that is 3 wins for Caesar Sanchez. Jeff Stickrod, you have 1 roll. 60! Oh my god. As combat is happening with this Gogarian dog that is dead, you can tell it's been resurrected to life. Its jaw is partly decomposed. Its fangs are visible even with its mouth closed. Caesar is in combat. Jeff is in combat. Jeff on the creature's back, stabbing it. Caesar, realizing that this is not working, pulls from the inside a power he had not known for a long time. Caesar's hand bursts into flame, but his skin stays the same. The creature lunges at him, and in a beautiful, mystifying sight, he creates a wall of fire between him and the creature, in reaction to this fire, crumples and dissolves. Caesar, still on fire, moves into combat. His entry into the big fray happening with Genzo, the Scourge Knights, and the warriors of the Willard School, and the pupils. He can see the chaos of it. He lets out a roar, and with one fling of his wrist, a big ball of fire kills 3 ghouls automatically, instantly. Jeff Stickrod by his side. Both of them enter into combat, running into the fray. We move on. At the back of the battle, things have gotten so rough. The battle has gotten so disgustingly close. People are being chomped at. Legs are being eaten. People are picking up limbs. It's hand-to-hand combat at this point. At the back of the battle, the Scourge Knights have entered into hand-to-hand combat with Shane Purcell, Seth House, and Robert Thomas. They have to roll. This is literally just grappling and rolling on the ground, stabbing each other's eyes out with their hands, seeing who gets the upper hand here. Shane, you are first. Shane Purcell with 1 roll. Shane, you are grappling with a Scourge Knight on the floor, attempting to strangle him. He's attempting to strangle you. Who gets the upper hand? Shane Purcell. 95! Oh my god! Shane Purcell. You can feel his cold, disgusting fingers on your neck, but that is not enough to stop you. You, with both thumbs, squeeze into his eyes and crush his skull with your bare hands. That is a win for Shane Purcell with a 95. Now we move on. As this is happening, Seth House, a wizard, wields a staff given to him by his father from the Icelandic Alliance, the Nordic Alliance. He shoots icy spells from this staff. Sorry, did I say dagger? I mean staff. And as Seth is doing this, a ghoul comes from behind him and attempts to take a chomp from his neck. Seth has already done a lot for the battle. Killed many Scourge Knights, killed many ghouls. This is a strong warrior. We've seen him before. We know him. And as this battle takes place, Seth, do you see the ghoul coming from behind you? No! Seth is so thick into the battle. He's waving his staff around, killing scores of enemies as he does it. But they seem endless. And from behind him, a ghoul comes and chomps into his neck, instantly killing him. Now, Robert Thomas sees this happen. Robert knew Seth House. They studied under the same instructor, both wizards at the Willard School of Masters, both very good pupils. Robert, tear in his eye, attempts to avenge his friend. Robert, the area in which you are in this battle is being overrun with ghouls. They're coming from everywhere. In fact, you might even see them coming from the floor as if they're being resurrected by Genzo during battle. Robert Thomas, one roll. Oh my god! Robert Thomas takes Seth House's staff and in his honor, in his memory, screams a vicious, ear-breaking scream. And as he does this, blue light shines from the staff, engulfing the surrounding area. You can see the light coming from his eye, from his mouth. Robert has tapped into a magic very few have ever seen. A dozen or so ghouls are killed. Instantaneously they dissolve into the air. Scourge Knights wriggling on the floor, their skin is dissolving. Robert Thomas, you win within 93. Now this battle is epic. It is continuing, it is raging on. But as this is happening, as Genzo continues his vicious onslaught of attacks on the warriors and pupils, a hearty war cry is heard in the distance. Diksal Patel flies into battle on a young, red, charred dragon. Although young, still armored with cephalic scales and armed with a fatal fiery belch. Diksal Patel, a professor from the school, a professor who raises creatures for the school, comes in on a dragon flying above, scaring everyone below, in all honesty. Diksal, you have to roll. This roll will impact the end of the story. Diksal, 1 through 49 is a loss, 50 to 100 is a win. Diksal Patel, no! As Diksal comes down on this beautiful young dragon, the fire that is let out by this dragon just narrowly misses the scores of ghouls and Scourge Knights and Genzo. But this is actually a good thing, because if he had landed that fire, he might have actually killed some of his friends, some of his pupils. So not a terrible thing to have missed. Diksal flies up into the air and attempts to do a roundabout to take second aim. Genzo is shaken up by Diksal's entry. He knows that fire is not his friend. Benjamin Kane, before Genzo is able to try to run away, to try to teleport away, Benjamin Kane stands ready in front of him. Great axe, ready for one-on-one combat. Benjamin Kane, you have two roles. Do you let him get away, or do you stop this Dark Lord and his vicious antics? Will you end this all now? You have two rolls. 1 through 49 is a win, or 1 through 49 is a loss. 50 to 100 is a win. Benjamin Khan. Two rolls. The first roll, 13. The second roll. 45, that's a reroll. Second roll. 64, that is 1 win, 1 loss. Benjamin, in this fight, stands ready with his great axe, and Genzo, smirk on his face even with all of the blood and tears in his skin, almost revels in this chaos. The ruler of the Burning Scourge takes aim at Benjamin. As they enter into combat, Genzo flings himself behind Benjamin. Benjamin, quick-witted, lowers his head and narrowly dodges the strike that would have decapitated him. He then plunges his sword into the side of Genzo. Genzo releasing a hellish scream, one that gets the attention of everything around them. Genzo, wounded, beckons his knights and launches several smoke screens, flings himself into the air as Benjamin attempts to get the final hit on him. No one can see, everyone is swinging wildly. Robert Thomas still slinging spells into the distance, not knowing what he's hitting at this point. It's not really a good thing. As the smoke starts to clear up, you see dead bodies, you see people wriggling on the floor, you see body parts, you see ghouls dissolved, you see Scourge Knights crawling, attempting to follow their master, but they can't. They're near death. As this is happening, in the distance, several more explosions are heard, and shrieks are heard, and it sends shivers down the survivors' spines, but they finally defended the Willard School and are near death themselves. As someone is leading an army of creatures raised by him at the school to battle the Dark Lord and finish this once and for all. The beginning. And let me update the stream loss for a second. It is actually showing that for me as well. It seems like we're losing a couple of notably at the end of the stream. Cesar Sanchez won 3 rolls. That is correct, 3 rolls. Jeff Strickrod did not win. And then I believe everything has been updated. Okay, we made it to the end of the Legend of Genzo. What an epic end of the story. So we have a period of time to talk about what you liked. Oh, is it lagging? Oh god, is it lagging? Let me see. How are we looking? Yeah, it appears we are lagging. Brittany says, I feel like the Spicy Train went a lot better than the last 2. Super fun to listen to. Zach says, all the crits. The internet issues. Okay? So, it did lag for... Okay, we're going to have to call it because it looks like the internet is dropping. As we speak, actually. It is dropping frames. So, you beautiful people, you spicy warriors, the Legend of Genzo will continue on later. And we will see how it ends, how people's point... Yeah, it looks like we're... let me... Oh, man, we are losing frames bad. I don't know what's going on. Let's see. Is it even... Oh, man, we are losing frames bad. I don't know what's... Yeah, it looks like we're taking a pretty big hit here, internet-wise. At least this happened at the end. That is true. Good job, man. Great, in my opinion. I loved the excitement of it. Now, keep in mind, the people who rolled over 90s, you will get some epic Spy Masters packs, plus double Masters, box toppers. Literally, I think some of the best things that will ever be sent out will come out of the Spice Arena for your wins. And the people who, I think, Zachary Buck, you rolled a 95. Jeffrey Swakowski, you rolled a 95. Shane Purcell rolled a 95. Robert Thomas rolled a 93. So, Art Walker, a longtime customer, is already getting a Mana Crypt, and one of you will also be getting a Mana Crypt. But you shouldn't even be that excited about the Mana Crypt, because one of you will also be getting a Sword of Feast of Famine. One of you will be getting You know, vintage packs worth literally maybe over $100. A lot of you will be getting Scourge and New Phyrexia and Shards of Alara and some very cool vintage packs. Avacyn Restored as well will be thrown in there. So there we go. Anything else? Love you guys in this channel and your story stuff. I love it too, Stanley. It is so fun. So fun. I just can't even describe how epic it is to, you know, tell that kind of story. Any more input? Is there anything you would want to see for the next stream? Is there anything that you think is notable? Is there anything that you didn't like from this stream? I think that's something we should talk about before we end it. Anything you didn't like that we can improve upon for the next stream? I think the internet issues, luckily they came at the end, but we'll try to avoid that for next time. I don't know how we're going to avoid that, but it seems like we were dropping frames for a little bit. Looks like we're fine now, though. So I will give another minute for you guys to tell me what you thought, and then, you know, we'll call it, and you guys can enjoy the little fireplace in the background for a little bit longer. I really love that story. I think Genzo flinging himself around in battle and throwing his long forgotten blade at people and just swinging his two-handed sword, and, you know, and Seth House with a staff given to him by his father is, you know, flinging bouts of icy spells at people. It's so epic. Revival mechanic was a nice touch. Yeah, so, I mean, keep in mind that for us, we want you to win. To be totally honest, we want you to win. I think people winning, if you've noticed, when people lose, I actually get disappointed because I want you to win, because not only do you get cool prizes, but you also help the story progress further. Because if you die, you know, like, let's say Benjamin lost both roles and he had just died in combat there. It would have just been Genzo kills Benjamin and then Genzo disappears. It's less fun than Genzo flings himself behind Benjamin. Benjamin blocks and dodges that hit and then swings his blade into Genzo and makes contact. And then Genzo, bleeding, has to make his escape. Tonight was a good improvement over the last few weeks. Felt like it kept moving and had a good character. You know, Nicholas Griffin, I feel like that is likely due to it being the ending is written and the beginning is written. And the storyline is also written with you guys in mind, right? And then we can elaborate on things in combat if we want to. You know, we don't have to, but if we want to. So yeah, I mean, looks like if you look at the... I mean, take a look at this. Right? Take a look at this. If you look at this, majority of people won today. Look at that. Now, I did give a lot of revival rolls. Looks like we had 1, 2, 3... Wait, one? Wait, how many people lost? Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my god! Out of all of the people, only 5 people lost? That's kind of insane. That is kind of insane. The survival rate is incredibly high, apparently, for the Legend of Genzo. I think this might be one of the highest survival rates we've ever seen. Brandon, if you're still in here, Brandon Carl, I am shocked that you lost all 3 rolls. If you notice, with anyone who's bought multiple rolls, typically they'll win one. So like if you were to look at this, and we do 3 rolls here, 1 is a 10, 2 is a 22. Oh, this is not a good example. And 3 is a 91. So yeah, typically you'll get 1 win, right? Statistically. You know, it's a 50-50% chance. So, yeah, losing all 3 rolls sucks. That is terrible. I'm not a fan of people losing their rolls, to be totally honest. And it's the same thing I will say before we end the stream. It's the same thing as if you get something bad in your mystery packs or your premium monthly mystery packs or your Commander's Fury crate, don't ever think it's something that we're proud of. You know what I mean? Because it's randomized. You know, to be totally honest, sometimes we don't even know what's going out. It's randomized, it's thrown into the package, and it's sent out. And we have to do that for hundreds of orders a day. And, you know, sometimes people aren't happy with what they get. And we want to know that. We want to fix that. Because if you have a really good opening experience, like, I always said that if I could reseal packs, I would just throw masterpieces into every single pack that we send out. Because I want you to have an amazing pack experience. I find more value in having long-term customers than short-term customers. So, you know, that's my view on it, is I would rather you love it every time and then just stay a customer. And then, you know, we do it that way. That just seems better to me. My 3 didn't even add up to 50, but I know, Nick. You got Nicholas Griffin. You got Stanley Tarasowitz. Very happy you rolled well there. Because you revived Nicholas Griffin and Alasdair Vale. This would look much different if that didn't happen. Because that'd be 2 more losses here. Revived Alasdair Vale and revived Nicholas Griffin, and they both won the rerolls. So that's epic. Well, I think Nicholas Griffin, you actually lost your reroll. Or you didn't lose it, you got a 45. And that, we constitute that as another reroll. So, I mean, to be honest, I think the way we do it now, with the 45 being a reroll, the majority of people should win. At least 70%. I think 70% is around the amount of people who win, and there's probably around 30% who lose. They get very low numbers, and we can't reroll. Last week was brutal. Jonathan Fagel, I don't remember what happened last week, Jonathan. What happened last week? I mean, the difference is I'm telling the story, so it's hard for me to remember certain moments, you know? God, I love this, though. Oh, the Legend of Genzo. Genzo Dragonblight. You know what this reminds me of? When I was writing the story, and I was thinking of the sword, and I was thinking of Genzo, this necromancer who's taking ghouls from the ground and fighting people, and he's entering into the school. It reminded me of the Star Wars scene where Anakin enters the school and tries to kill all the pupils. Well, he does kill all the pupils, and that's kind of how I envisioned Genzo coming into the school, the Willard School of Masters, and you know, attempting to kill all of these kids that might one day grow up to be stronger than him. First half was all losses. Oh, you're talking about last week? Yeah, that's pretty bad. Well, Jonathan, the interesting thing about that is because it's a 50-50% win chance, that actually makes sense. Where the first half is all losses, the second half is all wins, then it sort of just looks like a 50-50% win chance, right? The problem is it's so brutal. It's so brutal to see 50% of people lose. And that's why I kind of like it to where above a 45 you get a reroll. And we do it that way, and then, you know. In any case, guys, we're going to call it here. I don't want to extend the video too long. This will be on YouTube, it will be on Facebook, it will be on Twitch. You can watch it there if you were not able to watch the entire stream now. You can see the wins and losses on the screen. And I want to see you guys for next week. Next week will be epic. Hopefully we don't have any audio issues or internet issues next week. Okay, so I will see you guys next time. This is Alan with MysteryMTG.com. If you would like to join in for next week, go on to MysteryMTG.com and find the MTG or Mystery MTG Spicy Arena tickets. You can buy them there. It should be $40 per ticket. It's $5 for shipping. Okay. Got a strong Anakin vibe with some Harry Potter. I love it. I love it. All right, guys, I will see you next time. Have a great night. And for anyone who won today, I cannot wait to pack the